Hey YouTube, Ricoknows here. I wanted to do this video on live and then I decided I'll just hit record. I'm going to talk to you guys and, I want to break down this whole Jaden Rashada thing. So if you didn't hear, former 4-star, 5-star quarterback Jaden Rashada is suing Billy Napier. He's suing Hugh Hathcock. That's this guy right here. This is his Twitter page. And he's suing one other guy who doesn't work with Florida anymore, and I'll get to his name here in a few. Here's the deal. This is a former 4- or 5-star player coming out of high school. He was promised a lot of things. Now, I want to remind all the players out there, when you're getting paid millions of dollars, you got to deliver, right? You got to deliver. We all agree. You got to deliver. Sometimes you got to deliver on promises. Sometimes you got to deliver on good faith. You got to deliver on being a good person. A number of things. But I think people don't quite understand how this is not going to work out for Jaden Rashada. First and foremost, if I can give it to you guys plainly, this is a he said, not he said, she said, he said, he said. This is one party saying one thing and another party claiming another. And we don't know who's telling the truth. I would imagine the young man is telling the truth, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, remember that ruling in Tennessee? The ruling in Tennessee that allowed Tennessee to give offers to Nico while he was in high school, their quarterback? That ruling is going to mean everything in this case. It really is, because this allows and authorizes these college teams to make NIL offers and deals and commitments and promises before the National Letter of Intent Day. Before they ever get to your school, you can just make them a bunch of promises, and guess what? There's nothing in the world that says you need to be a good guy. There's nothing in the world that says you need to do this or that or the other and meet them halfway. Nope. A broken promise. The worst thing that could happen to the university in this regard would probably be like bad press, losing your national letter of intent. I need a release, which he got. That's how he ended up at Arizona State. So you get there, it's like somebody promises to do something, and you just get the wedding annulled, right? It's not that big of a deal. You cheated, I cheated, it didn't work out, and we keep it moving. So let's explain this whole situation for what it is. And I'll try to go as slow as possible, but without taking up too much of your time. So first and foremost, Jaden Rashada suing Billy Napier, the head donor, and a guy that worked at Florida. A guy that was in charge of player personnel and NIL. It was like a new position, and he was absolutely terrible at it, by the way, because he had another issue in another case. We'll talk about it. But it says it here. He was promised a massive payday, including $500 signing bonus, when he signed with the team. He obviously never got that. The only payment Rashada ever got was $150 from Hugh Hathcock. Now, that $150,000, Rashada had to pay that to another booster, to the Miami booster. So let me explain this. You got a young man out of high school. He's deciding what schools he wants to go to. And he was initially committed to Miami. Miami was offering him $9.5 million. This is why you can't believe when somebody says they can't afford to fire that coach, his buyout's $12 million. Like, bro, they can afford it. Trust me, they can afford it. So Miami was offering him $9.5 million. And then Florida swoops in and says, you know what, we'll offer you $13.85 million. And it came out to some absurd numbers monthly and all kinds of shit and a signing bonus and this is what you'll get. And his family, they also offered his father a job. And his family, they saw dollar signs and they got greedy. And they went from 9.5 to 13 and they said, let's do it. We're going to take that 13. And who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't do that? But when you take the $13 million and you try to sue and you say, well, because of you, I lost $13 million. No, you did not lose $13 million. You lost $9.5 million. Okay? Their lies resulted in you losing out on revenue at Miami for $9.5 million. And the reason they needed to pay that $150 to the Miami booster is because the Miami booster was saying, hey, if you're flipping and leaving our deal, because we had a verbal agreement, and in the state of Florida, verbal agreements count. If you're flipping our deal, you better pay me or I'm going to sue your ass. And to avoid litigation in the state of Florida, Rashada paid that man $150,000. Now, I want you guys to know Rashada has two agents. Two agents. One of them is a college student. At this time, he had two agents. One's a college student. Doesn't know what the F he's doing. So if you go into this battle with two agents, getting nothing in writing, only getting text messages, and nothing about a text message is legally binding. Hey, man, we need to hook up. And I'm going to show you the text messages here. I mean, it's absolutely nothing. But when you go out here, they pressured him. The UF official is the guy I'm talking about who got fired. We'll get to it. Hathcock even suggested he would secure Rashada's father a job. Now, Rashada's a former player. His dad used to play at Arizona State. I think his dad's part of the problem, if you ask me. But all the promises were lies. Cool. All the promises were lies. We're going to keep going. Give me a second here. Oh, by the way, Rashada now has a Houston-based attorney. This guy loves to sue anyone. I'm telling you, he's got other cases in this regard. It's kind of bothersome to me. But if I can find the right moment here, Hathcock ran a collective. So, Hathcock ran a collective called the Gator Guard. He was creating a company. Think of it as some rich-ass boosters. By the way, I'm just going to put it out there. Hathcock is part of the problem. This is a booster. He's got a part of the stadium named after him. He's got a part of a baseball field named after him because he's donated millions of dollars to his alma mater. Hathcock does not care that he was promising this young man $13 million because he was only going to pay 5 of it. But remember, this is about the elite, the rich of the rich. And it's not, do they have this type of money to donate, or why are you paying for this guy, the audacity? No, they want to brag to others. I have so much money, I could afford this player. I'm telling you guys, this is a new day and a new age and a new way of doing things. The wealthy want to brag. Some guys show off chains. Some guys get on film and show off billfolds and bill rolls. There's other dudes out there, and the way they can brag about their wealth is show you their recruiting class and show you who they could sign in a 4- and 5-star player. That's all Hathcock's doing. He's just bragging about how much he's going to pay you. So he creates his own company, the Gator Guard, but at some point he runs into like some litigation. There's some money laundering shit going on. All the NILs become remember, they were supposed to be these tax-exempt companies. So rich people could make donations and do tax write-offs, nonprofits. But then the IRS came out and said, hey, cut that shit out. Every single NIL in America is going to get taxed like anybody else. You're not a nonprofit organization because you're providing resources, financial resources, beyond their means. They were trying to say that they were for the good of the state, the good of the community, the good of the public, right? Whenever you're a non-taxable entity, it's because you are providing a service to the public. But if you're providing more money than their bills, that's not a service to the public. Like, that's private, right? That's a private benefit of some sort. At that point, we need to tax you. So once this guy finds out his NIL is going to get taxed like normal and you won't be able to money launder and do all that shady shit, he's like, well, then I'm going to sell it. So he only had it for a couple of months, and he's like, I'm going to sell the Gator Guard. By the way, there's Gator Guard, and then there's Gator something else. There's another NIL, the main one. What is it called? Gator something. Right here. Gator Collective. Yeah, CEO Eddie Rojas. Two different collectives, both same purpose, but Eddie Rojas actually just runs his shit, right? So here's the deal. Here's Marcus Castro Walker. That guy's the problem. He'll be the fall guy for this thing. He's the conduit. He's the guy who does all the texting, talking back and forth on behalf of the coaching staff, talking to the agents, trying to get a deal done. But what you do is you have a guy claiming, yo, we'll pay you when you get here. And then they get the text and they're like, oh, by the way, I can't pay you right now. I'm selling my company. So go talk to that other guy. He's going to hook you up. And the other guy's like, yeah, man, I got you. Don't worry about it. But the other guy doesn't quite know how much money the guy's supposed to be getting. Right? So you call Eddie Rojas, the CEO of the Gator Collective. He doesn't quite know that we promised $13 million. So he's just like, yeah, we'll hook it up. We'll make it whatever it needs to be. And he stays very vague. You already know we need that quarterback. That's that guy. But Rojas right here says they said they're going to get $8 million from the Gator Guard and $5 million from Rojas. And Rojas is in here saying some stuff like, tell Jaden we look forward to setting him up for life. Freudian slip. They set him up? No. But we need to set up his brokerage accounts as soon as possible. Dude is rich, and we just got started. So when I hear somebody say to me, dude, you're rich, we need to set up your brokerage accounts, that means you're not trying to send me money. You're trying to send me shares, bro. You're trying to send me some other shit. I don't want crypto. I don't want Bitcoin. Why are you talking about a brokerage account? Let me tell you guys something. I was talking to an agent last year, and he just, within the first 20 minutes, he was like, Rico, one day I could see you being a millionaire. I'd like to be a part of that. And I just looked at, I remember I just looked at my phone. I looked at Kim across the way, and I'm like, these dudes are used car salesmen. They'll just say anything. Bro, if I ever get to $1 million, it's going to be without you. And not with you, bro. I'm not splitting my money with you. Who are you? I created all this on my own. Who are you? So when these guys start talking about you're rich, like this stuff doesn't excite me. You text this shit to me, but I'm 41 years old. I have a lifetime of wisdom. You shitting me, bro? You ever been on a first date with somebody and they start telling you how great they are? You start looking at them going, how the hell are you single? I'll stop you in the middle of your story telling me how independent you are, the house you own, you got no debt, no kids, no drama. I'll stop you in the middle of your story and be like, yo, how are you single? No, I want to know how you're single. Because by now, we're in our 40s. By now, you should be with the wrong person. You should just be stuck in a bad relationship. You're so damn great, you can't be alone out here. Let me know what's up. So when you start hearing these guys saying you're going to be rich, you start looking around the Florida roster. Start looking around the Florida roster and just be like, which one of these guys is rich? Hold up, you're about to make me rich? Why didn't you make anybody else rich? Like, wake up. You're not getting 13 million. They're just throwing a number out there. I got to ask Jaden Rashada, man. Did you get 13 million at Arizona State? What about at Georgia? Nope. No such thing, right? Walk around the locker room and start asking. Who got 13 million? Hey, you guys get 13 million? At what point is it bullshit, bro? These guys are falling for just false promises. Look, man, they used to tell us, if you walk into the club, and this is us, I'm talking about military intelligence, top secret clearance, military intelligence guys, me. They used to say, if you walk into the club and the finest girl in the club walks up to you and says, oh, you're really good looking. No. She's a spy, bro. She's Russian. She's a spy. She's Russian. She's trying to figure some shit out. She's trying to collect on you. If you don't get hit on like that everywhere, it ain't happening now. This is crazy. So if not every single team in the world is offering you $13 million, they're all lying to you. And you're falling for it. It's mind-boggling to me. I'll never understand it. But I digress. Meaning, let me get back on track. Let's stay on topic here. Tell him we're going to set him up for life. Said he's going to get $500. Now, we got a woman named Jennifer Grosso. Jennifer Grosso is the attorney for the NIL for the Gator Collective. Jennifer Grosso started texting saying, hey, we want to send you this $500,000, but all you got to do is get on social media and commit. Put it up there. We'll pay you $500,000. Now, that number I believe. But once again, I know recruiters, man. I know people in life who just make false promises. You ever met somebody and they're like, yo, we're going to hook you up. We're going to hook you up. And you never get the hookup? I know dudes who say, man, I'll pay you back tomorrow. And then they go ghost. The audacity of Florida, for sure. The broken promises, sure. But what did you lose? What did you lose? You bit, and they knew. You signed a letter of intent, you're locked in with them. But if they don't pay you, you're disgruntled forever. Now we got a hostage situation. And I don't negotiate with terrorists, right? So this is kind of Bush League to me. The broken promises. Now, once again, this is a lawsuit from his perspective. They might have a whole different perspective, and that's why it's he said, because Florida might have a whole different way of saying this. They might say, hey, look, we told this guy face to face that he needs to come here, earn his keep, and after 1 year, we'll give him this, this, and this. If he becomes a starting quarterback, we offered to pay him this, this, and this. If he beat out Graham Mertz, we were going to pay him this. Like, there might have been other stipulations. But if you're not in accordance with the stipulations, you're out of here. You're not getting paid. I know they have stipulations like you must make a post on Instagram or a brand post on Twitter. You must do this. You must do some community service. Answer this. Do that. There's a bunch of requirements. And if you don't do the requirements, you don't get paid. They can hide behind that. But if you really read it and you really understand what's going on here, this ain't about money because you can't really get money for it. You can claim money, and I'm sure they'll settle out of court to save court costs. But Coach Napier called him and said, yo, Hathcock's on the plane. Hathcock's on the plane. He'll land and wire you $1 million. He wants the paperwork I'm sending if you're good. Okay. Bro, if some dude's on the plane, that plane's got to land. I ain't signing nowhere. That's utter ignorance. I'm not signing until it hits my bank account. Do the wire, do the transfer, do the Zelle, whatever it is. I don't know what the limitations are. I haven't dealt with that kind of money. But you got to send it, bro. I ain't signing nothing. Where is the financial advisors? Where are the adults in this situation? I understand this is a high school kid, but he's got parents. He's got agents. Hire an attorney. We're dealing with millions of dollars, guys. This is NIL. This is an NIL era. We're dealing with millions of dollars. Hire the right people. Don't try to shortchange it. Don't hire a college student as an agent. Don't get your cousin or your uncle or even your dad. Don't let no family touch your money, but make sure you got your money. It's just ridiculous. You got bamboozled. You're ignorant to the regard. Like, it's crazy. So you signed the letter of intent. Then you said more unfulfilled promises. At that point, though, you got to understand. If you sign a letter of intent and you don't go through with your commitment, that's an unfulfilled promise. Right then and there. Right? You committed to being, this is why I made the video earlier on TikTok and I talked about this. I said, man, this kid down here, this guy dresses up as a quarterback every Halloween. He's not a quarterback. He played in one game against Southern Utah, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 3-point win, 24-21. And then he didn't play again until, what was it? I know he played in the Arizona game. Played in one more. That's it. 3 games. 3 interceptions. 4 touchdowns. Is that worth any amount of money? Because let me tell you something. You would not be suing Florida if you played out of your mind when you were at Arizona State. If you were worth the damn and you played great, Arizona State would have paid you. If you showed up and played out of your mind, they would have paid you, and we wouldn't be talking about this. But instead, we're talking about the greatest payday of your life. And you have the nerve to say, well, he transferred to Georgia, not for NIL, because he wants to be developed and he's preparing for an NFL career. What about his game says NFL? What about his production, his performance says NFL? Nothing. It's all a lie. You're going wherever you can go to be developed. How many Georgia quarterbacks are being developed? How many? Who on the bench is being developed? Show me the track record. You're not better than Gunnar Stockton. You're not. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't think he stays at Georgia. I don't think this man's committed to anything. So when you start looking at it, it just looks like a kid who fell for the glitz and the glamour, a bigger promise over here, a bigger promise over there. I'm going to tell you guys, I remember I was in middle school. Shout out to middle school, bro. I was like 12, and I liked this girl. And I told her through a friend, hey, I like you. And then I didn't get a response. I was like, damn. All right. I saw this other girl. She wasn't nearly as attractive. I was like, hey, I like you. I had enough confidence to tell her. And then she went and had a conversation with that other girl. And then they both approached me after school one day. Shout out to, I think one of the girls' names was Nisha. I don't remember the other girl's name. I don't remember her name. But I remember they said, pick between one of us who you like more. And I was like, well, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I was asking about some other shit. And I eventually made the wrong choice. Because I picked the girl and she goes, oh, you shouldn't have picked me. You should have picked her because I don't like you. And I was like, just standing there like, yo, and I was asked out. I made the wrong choice. The older you get, the more expensive lessons will be. Straight up. You make the wrong choice, The older you get, the more expensive lessons will be. When I was 12 or 13, I made the wrong choice. All it cost me was a girlfriend for a couple of weeks, so I found another one. You're an 18-year-old making a college decision, and it's going to cost you some money because you're older. And you're dealing with real numbers. And I got news for you. As you get older and get older and get older, and you got to choose between that stripper and your wife, that divorce might be real pricey. And you might end up alone for the next 20 years. The older you get, the more expensive lessons will be. I think Jaden Rashada is going to learn a valuable lesson here. His attorney said in an interview, right, that this whole thing is about trying to change our perspective on NIL. They know they can't get it. Listen, there's an investigation going on by the NCAA. There's an investigation going on by the NCAA, and they want to figure out what happened in this case. They already sent out all the investigators. But at some point, once that court case in Tennessee, once that court case went through, the NCAA stopped because they have no jurisdiction over NIL given to high school students before college. So we got to get that out of there. There's nothing there. But with that case study in place, you're going to see teams can just make promises, man. There's nothing in writing. The legally binding contract that you think you have, it isn't legally binding. If you're watching universities skip out on their right to arms, what is it called? I was going to say call to arms. Their, oh my goodness. To arms. TA. Why is the ACC there? Bill of Rights, not Bill of Rights. Grant of Rights. Whoa, grant of rights. When you see universities getting out of grant of rights, you see universities getting out of committed contracts for a number of things. If you don't think that they can hire the smartest people alive to get out of stuff like this, you're in a world of hurt. You don't understand. And these people that you're suing are closely aligned to the university. Now, I understand Florida wasn't named as a plaintiff in this, and rightfully so. You can't sue Florida, right? NILs are collectives and other things. But I don't think you win in this regard. I think it's just people are going to make you promises, and they're going to be false promises. They're going to be lies. And when somebody lies about a contract, you know what you can do? You can back out of it. That's it. You don't get to sue for damages or lost wages. You don't get to do none of that stuff. That's all a pipe dream. Oh, man, I lost $9.5 million. Nope. That's not how it works. And you can try it, and you're going to try it, and it's fine. But I want you to know, you reminded me of Malik Henry. Malik Henry, one of the most unlikable, highly touted quarterbacks coming out of high school. That's what you remind me of, but with NIL. Just a guy that I don't want in my locker room, a guy I don't want on my team. I don't want him around anything. You're going to sue my coach? You're going to start suing coaches over false promises. I had a coach tell me I'm starting tomorrow, and then he changed his mind. But if I started 3 games, I was going to get an extra bonus. Wait till that shit starts happening. Wait till these players start getting incentive-based contracts, incentive-based NIL. Currently illegal, but wait till it happens. You can't turn around and sue somebody. Can't. There's no precedence for this. So now you're trying to do a landmark case. And if that were to happen, more power to you. But if that were to happen, then we'd hear about a whole lot of other fumbled promises via NIL. But right now, with no regulation in place, what are you prescribing? What are you saying is prescribed? There's nothing. And prescribed means written. What is written that everybody has to follow? What they're trying to do with this case is create what people have to follow in litigation and in negotiation. Right now, there's nothing in place. So the end result of this case, best case scenario, is we come out with doctrine that supports guidelines for coaches to do things. Not you get your $14 million. That's not the best case scenario. That's not happening. It's a waste of time, waste of energy. So the fact that you even sued for monetary gain is somewhat appalling to me. You should be suing for a correction in the process to ensure this doesn't happen to other people. If it was that dramatic for you, if it was that traumatic, if it was that egregious of an error, you should be suing for some other shit. Because I'm going to tell you, man, nobody ever changed the rules when Nick Saban was grade shirting players. When Nick Saban was getting players to sign on the dotted line for letter of intent, or players were verbally committed to Alabama, and then right before National Letter of Intent Day, he called you up and went like, hey, listen, I need you to gray shirt. And if you don't know what gray shirt, it means you can't enroll in the fall. You're not even part of the team. You don't even get to go to practice. You just go to the university till January. Then your scholarship kicks in. Then you can join the team. Then you can do football activities because you count on the next year's numbers. And back then it was 25 initial entry scholarships. They were limited at 25, so he could count you against the next year's numbers. Because if he had academic attrition or anybody injured, he would take them off the numbers, and then he could add you to the previous year's numbers. It gave them leeway. And there's a player in the NFL that Nick Saban did this to. Couldn't sue. It's a broken promise. Couldn't sue nothing. Couldn't do nothing. All you can do is put it on blast, and it didn't change anything. The minute they put it on blast, nobody cared. Why? Winning matters. If you win, they'll pay you. If you win, no one gives a shit. But right now, you're dealing with a coach that's not winning, so he's somewhat vilified right now. But if Billy Napier starts winning, no one's going to care about this. And I don't think the coach is at fault for this. I think this is NIL slick dudes talking, boosters talking. But I do want to say, isn't it kind of crazy? We went from talking about cheeseburgers and too many phone calls and car rides to now $14 million, false promises. Like, that's just, the scales don't even equate, bro. This is nuts. Jaden Rashada, if you ever become an NFL player, I promise you will never make that amount of money in the NFL. You will be taking a pay cut going from college to the pros. You, Reggie Bush, Cam Newton, Jamarcus Russell, any LSU player, everybody took a pay cut going from college to the pros. They're all out there. So welcome to the club. Hey, it's big boy life, bro. That's what it is. You're going to get lied to out here. Get it in writing or don't do it at all, right? You're going to get lied to. Trust. I once went to a realtor. They told me I qualified for a certain loan. I went out, looked for a house, paid my earnest money, went to everything, got to closing. Underwriter showed up and said, hey, by the way, we're concerned about your debt-to-income ratio. I remember this. This was a couple years ago. And I said, what are you talking about? I can afford this house. You guys are dumb. You guys are stupid. I already had this house. They're like, no, I know. And I said, hey, hold up. I already signed affidavit. I already signed that agreement. I already signed that. What are we doing? Like, well, do you mind if we restructure this? And the whole thing was, that day, if I signed on the dotted line that day, the percentages were too low. They wouldn't clear enough a yield on the loan. Yeah. Shiesty in real life, bro. It happens in every walk of life. I had every realtor in the world looking at me going, oh my God, Rico, you almost got robbed. I was like, I did. I lost my earnest money. I walked out of there with $2,000 lighter. But I wasn't going to sign that loan. I wasn't going to restructure it. Wasn't going to have them re-pull things. And that's a real life example. This happens to everybody in life. When you start dealing with real money, people start getting real shiesty. And you don't turn around and sue. You have to understand the checks and balances involved here. If you're not trying to change the documentation, if you're not trying to change how they operate and process, you're nothing to me, man. You're trying to get your money. That doesn't move me. Try to fix the process. Try to change it. Make it so people have to put everything in writing before you sign for a national letter of intent. Do something like that. But don't come in here and ask for money like this. This is a money grab, and I don't get down with it. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Good luck, y'all.